Good evening, everybody. Wednesday night. Welcome to your Talking Town. I hope everybody is well. The chat is absolutely popping off. I've just got a quick message here to read before we start from Martin regarding LC. Huge thank you for all the well wishes, cards, a few gifts, including the Just Eat vouchers. And of course, the power of prayer, of which I'm sure you all know me and my wife are big believers in. Elsie made good progress yesterday, with today being slower, but progress has been made. She is no longer on a machine, so she is doing the breathing all by herself. She is alert and feeding with good colour. The hardest part now is ensuring I am there for my three girls, but also my best friend in the world, my 3-year-old little Arthur. So tonight, despite being at home, I'm not with you in order to give him some normality and daddy time. I love you all. We love you too, Gov, and I hope you all understand. I can't wait to be back in the chair. Thank you all so much, Martin. So blue hearts, please, in the chat for Martin and his family. It's great that there's progress been made, but I'm here again. You're going to have to put up with me for about an hour, and you're also going to have to put up with this man.
He'll have you on strings. The fisherman, Mike Brown.
I've already said, and I've said on Twitter and whatever.
He is.
you sod, you just caught me out. I've had a technical nightmare.
Well, you're here. You're looking well. And
I've
normally,
just had a bit of a technical nightmare.
Normally, everyone, I have to put up with Mike and his 8-minute voice notes. That you can actually do it on 2 times speed, Mike. So I don't have to listen to you for that long. But
I might do it next time. So
just sitting down with you for an hour and a bit and chatting about town and being positive. Positive fisherman tonight, I hear.
Yeah. Can you hear me all right? Yeah.
Yeah, we can all hear you. Can everyone in the chat hear Mike? I know sometimes we don't want to hear Mike. Can you hear him tonight? Anyway,
no, I've had a bit of a technical nightmare tonight. My Chromebook wasn't charged. I went to charge it. I can't find the normal charger, so it won't charge. Well, it's charging, just won't hold charge while I'm on here. So I'm having to adapt my iPhone.
Well, Matt Stannard, we've got a request in the chat. Matt Stannard says, "Who thinks Mike? Actually, everyone, it is my birthday today. Who thinks that Mike should sing me happy birthday?" If you want Mike to sing me happy birthday, can we have 10 people in the next minute with fishing emojis? Fishing emojis in the chat. If there's 10 people put fishing emojis,
you really don't want to hear me sing.
You have to sing happy birthday. You've got a minute, everyone. So if you want Mike to sing, hear them dulcet tones, go now. There's none. I think you might. There's one. Robert Grimsey.
Good lad. Not.
Come on. Ben Hobbs. 2. Stephen Parry, 3. Well, I'm sure we'll get 10. Look, AD Croucher. Look, there's loads of fishes there, Mike. I think AD on his own. Come on, Mike. Come on, rendition of happy birthday. Come on.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Crunchy. Happy birthday to you.
I'll tell you what, that was brilliant. And I'll tell you what, you wouldn't get that on any other Ipswich Town podcast. Anyway, now that's out of the way, shall we, just a quick one before we start about tomorrow night's game, last night's game. I don't know if you've seen this, Mike, but there's a thing going around on social media. Oxford versus Ipswich. Scottish referee Bobby Madden has been demoted to League 2 as 4th official for 2 games for the fabricated rule he explained to both managers and his handling of other League 1 games. This is by the EFL Referees Appointments Board. What do you make of that?
Well, if he's fabricated, look. I mean, I was under the illusion that after as 80 minutes, if you haven't called the game off after 80 minutes, well, if you did call it off, the result would stand. And basically, he's told him, he's told him a bit of a fib, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
The question is, from Ipswich Town point of view, would I mean, that game shouldn't have gone ahead after half time. We know that. Should the game be replayed because of that fabrication, or is that?
I don't know. I suppose it'd have to be Town would they have to complain? Oxford, if it was 1-1, Mike, they would probably agree with that. Hang on, I've got a dog here that's bloody barking like an idiot. Oxford probably wouldn't want it now, would they? Because they've obviously taken the 3 points and they're happy. But at the time, they sort of wanted the game cancelled. So I think it's just one of them ones we're just going to have to sort of suck it up, mate, and just it happened.
Yeah.
You know, the game, and probably you cannot climb it.
It's one of those. It is one of those, isn't it? I do think there's in realistic. Look at some of the refereeing in this league, this just season, last season. You know, you could think of probably 4 or 5 referees you'd like to see demoted to League One or League Two.
Why is it like that? They send him to League Two, you know, then they have to suffer. You know, it's just surely if you were doing your job and you're lying, he's basically lied, hasn't he?
Yeah. Unless he was. Look, I think the thing is, if you're in a job and you know, and the rules keep changing, you need to be, you know, and you're in a position of like referees, you need to be up to date with all the rules and regulations, you know, and they're all changing. I get that they're changing, but even in League One, you're quite well paid for the job, and I think, you know, realistically, these referees should be accountable. And I've said it for a long time, not just in this league, but I think all leagues. I think sometimes, you know, I mean, I know we've got VAR in the Premier League, but even then, that's been like a massive talking point over the last sort of, you know, since it came in, last season, this season, you know, and I think realistically, sometimes I've always said it'd be nice sometimes if you could get these referees on telly and say, look, you know, why would you give this decision? Why have you given that decision? Because sometimes they are such shocking decisions. I mean, last night I was, you know, right or wrong, there was a fan in there from Morecambe. I didn't say last night because I didn't want to get him in trouble, but he was sat with his friend. He was an Ipswich Town fan, and they were brilliant lads, brilliant people. And even he was like, why is he giving that decision?
It was
a free kick to Morecambe, and he was like,
nothing to cheer about, did he? Let's just touch on the 102 Morecambe fans who come to the game. You know, fantastic. I know it's obviously the game got changed, Mike, because it was supposed to be on a Saturday because the FA Cup. So it's a midweek, and full credit to every single one of them who've come down. A bloody long way. I've been to Morecambe. It's a long way on a midweek, and they had to sit through their team getting an absolute whooping. So look,
especially that first half. Cool.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, when the announcer said 102, now I'm going to question that 102. They may have sold 102 tickets, but there was never 102 fans in there. There was so many not in there. You could actually do a head count.
I said 107, Mike. Like my lad, there was a couple of blokes in the stand. Fleetwood bought 66. Now, there didn't look many more than there was that night. Let's be fair about it. But
when I did a head count, and I got to 71, and that
it was one of them things. But yeah, look, full credit to them, and look, I hope they all had a safe journey back. You know, if they drove back last night or they stayed tonight and went back in the morning. But let's just start on obviously going to the game, Mike. We're all waiting for the lineup. We're all sort of saying this player should play, that player should play. Well, when the lineup's announced, he's dropped. I'd say dropped. I wouldn't say rested. You know, 3 out the back 4. What were your thoughts there? I know, obviously, when I messaged you, I don't think you were the only person who, when you see Richard Keogh in that lineup, was probably quite surprised.
That was a talking point. It was a massive talking point with everybody sort of in the fan zone and outside the ground. I see it, you know, and it was just like, wow. And everybody was like, oh my days. But look, yeah, that was a shock. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know what Kieran McKenna was thinking, really, mate. You know, but only he could answer that.
It's what Harp says in the chat. They did, them two defenders did play an away game at Morecambe. And I think if you're looking, Mike, look, defensively, we've been poor since Chaplin away. You know, and probably Wolfie's been probably he was the one I was quite surprised. I wasn't surprised at Burgess, and I wasn't surprised that JD dropped out for Harry Clark, who we'll come on to in a bit. Yeah. He was absolutely excellent. But Wolfie was the one for me who, he got out-muscled for the goal on Saturday, the first goal. But listen, maybe it's to rocket up some of them that they've needed. Maybe they've been a little bit too comfortable. And I don't know, but Willie's obviously Saturday. I wouldn't be surprised if they come back in for obviously the cup game. But it'll be interesting when we've got the next league game at Cambridge, which today, if you're not going to the game at the Abbey and you couldn't get a ticket and you don't watch on from overseas, let's just say, Mike, there is a beanback at Portman Road. They're doing a beanback. Tickets in the Sir Ralph Ramsey stand. I think they're £6. The concourse is going to be open, or I think it's 26 quid. You can go corporate if you want, Mike. You can have a meal, and then they've got. I think they're going to have two big screens. And actually, Mark Ashton's not going to be at the Cambridge game. He's going to be watching the beanback at Portman Road, which I think is quite a nice touch, you know, because obviously tickets were a premium for that game, and they went really quick. So yeah, but do you think we'll have the same back four when we play away at Cambridge, Mark, as we had last night? Getting back to the original.
Okay, so the thing is with the back four last night, they didn't really have a lot to do, did they?
No.
Would that
down your end just after we went 1-0 up? I think Keogh and I think Fridge, they had a free kick came in and they had a couple of blocks at the back post there. But I think other than
both of them together, both of them did the block. They were like, look. The thing is, you can't look. You cannot fault the effort of our defenders. I just think sometimes the art of defending gets a bit lost with the way they defend. You know, if you've got a player running at you, if you do your homework, you know that player is either left or right-footed, and you always try and show him on the weaker foot. You know, because if they score with a weaker foot, then okay, well done, you've done well. But if you're, you know, as a right back, always try and turn them. If they're left-footed, always try and turn them on your right, so on the right. So it makes it difficult for them to do anything.
Interesting comment here, Mike, in the chat from STST, and he says, hang on, let me just scroll down. Hang on. Keogh's only weakness really is pace. Yeah. So having Clark there can help cover that. We need Richard's experience right now. I think he can be our Tony Mowbray. He's a leader. We need leaders now. Now I was watching him quite closely at times last night, and he was showing his leadership. Thanks to the super sticker, David Bergine, €10. Martin will appreciate that. But I thought Keogh done well, and really. Come on, Martin. There's no need for that comment. Look, with a player with experience, experience could be able to get through a game against Morecambe easily.
Oh, look. To say he is the Mowbray of this town, look, to me that's a hell of a statement. He's about 5 years too late, really. Keogh, look, he's going to bring in some experience. He's been around the block a bit. He's going to bring experience. He was probably looking back, maybe he was ideal to come in for that game. Maybe Wolfie and Burgess could do with a break. Like I said, there weren't really much for them to do other than maybe a couple of blocks here because Morecambe really didn't offer a lot. I mean, Stockton was kept quiet all night. You know, and he's a player that, you know, he may have considered to come to town this season, especially after what he did last season, you know. So, look, I think, look, you know, Keogh's come in. I've always said this, maybe sort of to help behind the scenes rather than actually on the pitch. Because if he'd have played against Plymouth, he'd have had his arse handed to him, and you know, big time. I honestly believe that because, you know, there's players at Plymouth that, or, you know, Wednesday even. That would turn him inside out. So, you know, unfortunately, he's an ageing defender, and while I respect him and respect what he's done in football, I think, he's come here not to really sort of be a regular in the first team, to sort of help out as and when. Against Rotherham, he was woeful. I mean, he was turned inside out there. So, like I said, against better players, he's going to get found out a little bit. Leader, can't question his leadership ability. That effort, again, not a player you could ever question the effort. Shown last night with that him and Edmondson with that last ditch tackle. Edmondson, I thought, was impressive last night. I thought he worked well with Keogh. I think realistically, they're probably your second two best. They're kind of your backups, aren't they, to your first two? Which is I've always maintained Burgess and Wolfie are probably your best ones. For me, and I think you're going to touch on him, Clark was the biggest improvement in that side last night.
Yeah, if we look at the rest, we'll just quickly go through the rest of the lineup. Obviously, we had Evans and Morsey played in midfield. Nathan Broadhead was brought in. I thought he was really impressive on the left, and then we over there, Wes was on the right, Chaplin's in the 10, and then Freddie Ladapo. So if we might as well do some ratings. If we go through every player, then we can talk about certain individuals. So we'll start at the back. I think Christian Walton, I think me or you could actually have played in goal last night, Mike. He was no need to put his kit in the wash.
Yeah, look, 7 for turning up. Just because we won the game and we kept a clean sheet.
I'll give him a 6. He had a 7 when he might have a save to make, I think.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give him a 6. That's no reflection on him as a performance, but like I said, he didn't have a lot to do last night, did he?
So look, Richard Keogh, I'll give him and Fridge both a 7. I thought they were pretty steady at the back there. I'll give Leif Davis also a 7, Mike. I thought he was steady. I know, obviously, another goal from a set piece, which was strong. Let's talk about Harry Clark, because what I see last night, look, he had a lot of family there. I think he had over about 20 family members. Obviously at Town as a kid, then went to Arsenal. Come back last night. Big game for him last night, making your debut. Probably a lot of emotion running through him, through his body, and adrenaline. I thought, what I see there's a future Ipswich Town captain there.
Oh, big shout. I wouldn't say no, but at the moment it's too early to say for me. But I do think he. Look, everybody knows in the chat, and I'm talking Town. I'm a great Danassian fan. For the last few games, he hasn't looked. I wouldn't say. He's been a solid 6, I would say, rather than the usual 7s that we've been giving him in the past. So, we did say, didn't we, January window, get someone in a right back to sort of help Danassi. And I think Clark's came in, and last night, his ability to get forward and ability to get back, for me, he was man of, well, we'll talk about it later, but for me, I don't care. For me, he was man of the match. I thought he epitomised what we've needed on.
I think he's a lot of people's man of the match, Mike. I thought I really liked him. He was good on the ball. He was good going forward. What I liked was there was a tackle in the second half, sort of probably just inside your half where you were. You were down towards the Alf Ramsey, weren't you? Yeah, right near the tunnel. He wasn't favourite to win that ball, and he won the ball. And he left matey, I don't know who it was, the Morecambe player, in a bit of a heap. Fair tackle. I thought, I like that. You've really impressed me with what I've seen. And I know it's only one game, and we do tend to get a little bit carried away. I know we do, but I see enough there last night. The ability that he's got, I think he immediately improved that position. I don't want to be disrespectful to JD because I think he's been excellent. Him and Wes last season, he was really close to winning Player of the Year. You probably would have given JD Player of the Year. I would have done. Yeah, they were an excellent partnership. Last night, it was an excellent partnership down that right hand side with Harry Clark and Wes. I think there's something you can build on there. It's a bit disappointing. Clark can't play Saturday because he's cup tied. He obviously played for Stoke in the 3rd round, but I think he's going forward. He'll nail down that right centre back, right back.
The thing is,
whatever you want to call it, Mike.
Well, yeah, I mean, it all depends. It could be right wing back, right centre back, or right back, which is where he played last night. I think for me, JD is a good backup. Now, if Clark continues to perform like that, it's going to be hard for JD to get back into the squad. Do I think JD's carrying a knock? Yeah, I do think so, because he's not quite been there, has he?
He did have a game there when he went off, didn't he? And then he was back the next game. So yeah, possibly he's played a lot of football. He doesn't miss many games.
No, like I said, his body's not young anymore, is it? So, and football does take its toll on you. For me, like I said, Clark last night was a revelation. And do you know what? I'll tell you what it did do. It kind of, when you saw that tackle, and you're right, that tackle was like, it's just what we need. I thought Morsey and Evans controlled the midfield, and I haven't felt like they have for a few games now. I thought they've been found wanting, them two, in that midfield. And, maybe they've played a lot of games. Morsey's not a young person anymore. But Morsey was like, when there was a couple of times when Clark made a runs and I was watching Morsey, and Morsey was like applauding him and, come on, well done, And I thought, yeah, do you know what? It's that type of thing can spread around the team. That kind of aggression, that passion can spread around the team. And along with Broadhead, I thought he was very good. It was nice to see. And he was unlucky to score in the second half. Keeper pulled off a great save, and I was right behind that. So I was like, that's in. No, he's not. He's got it. Damn it.
But it did help. You say about like the midfield. It does help, Mike, when you score after 52 seconds, doesn't it, really?
Look, Johnny on the spot, Ladapo.
Yeah, look, it was the perfect start, and we're probably all a little bit nervous going into that game. I know it's Morecambe at home. You think you probably should beat them, but I think it's human nature after the sort of run we've been on, and we think, we are a bit pessimistic sometimes. I think that's just how you are, because when you've had like what we've had over the last 15 years, you want good things to happen, and good things have happened, but then we've taken a little step back the last 2.5, 3 months. But it was the perfect start, from another corner from Leif Davis, and it sort of ricocheted around. Freddie was Johnny on the spot, but I think that made Morsey and Evans' night a lot easier. Morecambe, they come to play football, Mike.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
But they didn't really press us. They bit of nothingness in that first half, and I think that's the ideal game for someone like Lee Evans. He can get on that ball. When you see like the last two games against Plymouth, and then on Saturday against Oxford. Now, if you're an opposition coach, you're a coach, Mike, I wouldn't be giving Ipswich time on the ball. No, I'd be pressing them high, playing out from the back. Christian Walton, don't let him do that. We see against Plymouth, about 3 times in that first half, he just kicked the ball, didn't he? Straight down the field, straight to their goalkeeper. So I think with Lee Evans, who I think he's a good footballer, but I'll be putting him under pressure. He can spray the ball about if you give him time, Mike. But
Plymouth man marked us, didn't they?
Yeah.
Plymouth man marked us. When we got the ball, they man marked us and high pressed. Morecambe didn't do that at all. They just kept their shape. And look, credit to them keeping their shape and that, but their shape wasn't working in the first half, and we destroyed them. There's no other way of saying it. 4-0 at half time is a bit of a thumping. 4-0 at full time is a thumping. But when you score,
makes a really good point here, Mike. He says, I think with Morsey and Evans, they have the passion, passing, and technical ability, which they do, but lacking in pace. It's my only concern in a minute against quicker midfielders, and they are. They are a little bit lacking in pace, I'd say.
I would. Morsey. The thing is with Morsey, right? He is like a little whippet sometimes. It's hard to get the ball off. When he's got the ball, it's hard to get the ball off.
Crab. He reminds me of a crab. When he's got that ball, it's literally you cannot get the ball, and he can turn and.
Yeah, I know. He's got great ability to turn and twist. Has he got pace? No, but he's not afraid to do the best he can. I have been a bit annoyed with him and Evans, to be honest, because I did feel that there wasn't enough leadership from Morsey in some of the games especially recently. And at the end of the day, it doesn't mean to say I'll drop him, but I think he's got he's got all. Look, he's when we've come up against sort of top 6, 7 sides in this league, our midfield has been a little bit.
That's when you need them to stamp their authority on a game.
Yeah.
Well, obviously got Cambridge coming up. Sheffield Wednesday in a couple of weeks' time. I want to see them two because I think they'll be playing unless there's an injury. I want to see them two. I don't know if Barry Bannon will play. He's been injured. I want to see them two dominate the middle of the park, Mike, like they should do.
Absolutely.
Because they didn't do it away. Because you touched on this when we played at Hillsborough. They didn't really dominate that middle of the pitch, especially late on. We were 2-0 up, and then we let Wednesday back into the game, didn't we? There was
times like, look, there was times when you just think, Joe, what, just take that player out. Just show him that you're there, If you get booked, so what? Then you just, if it's a second half, take a booking, Same with I do, like we've said this and you've said this, and I think a few through the fan base said this. We are too nice sometimes. We've not had a red card this season.
Do you think about like Morsey? He's gone quite a lot of games now. He's on 8 yellows, right? And another 2. He'll obviously get. I think it's a 2-game ban. Do you think that's playing on his mind a little bit?
I don't see why it should really, because it's not like we haven't got anybody that can come in and sort of support. Because when Humphreys, I'm a great fan of Humphreys. When Humphreys comes in that midfield, sometimes I think he offers more creativity than Morsey or Evans. And I think that's not because
night, didn't he? I thought he struggled, Cameron, when he came last. I thought it was really hard. Look, the game was over at 4-0.
Yeah,
it was. I thought that was probably. I'm a big Cameron Humphreys fan. I know you are. That was probably as poor as I've seen him. He give the ball away quite a lot, but I think it's a game. It was hard. You're at 4-0. What have you really got to gain when you're coming on then?
I'll tell you what I noticed. There's one thing I took notice of last night, and I've watched a few sort of reruns of a few games recently, and there's a common theme where players seem to be coming out of their position, and it's leaving us no one up front. Chaplin yesterday was wide left with Leif Davis. What's he doing there? As a player, you try and stay within your zonal position. I don't get why Chaplin has to come back and sit on that left-hand side. Same with Cam Humphreys. He's in the midfield, and yet he's sat out on the left-hand side. Stay in your midfield area. Give players an option for them to pass to you. Do you know what I mean? I mean, Chaplin's had a great game last night when he was playing, further forward. But don't drop so deep. Stay in your natural role.
Ian Davis says I don't look a day over 46. Cheeky bugger. What are you giving Morsey and Evans? I'll give them 7s, both of them.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to argue with that. I think 7s is very good. I think they deserve 7s. Like I said, they didn't have to really work too hard in that midfield. But when they did have their mod moments where their midfield, Morecambe's midfield, and other players were getting a bit of sort of hustle and bustle, I thought they handled themselves quite well. So yeah, I think 7s all round.
We've got 178 watching. I don't know how many likes we got, but if you haven't pressed the like button, press that thumbs up. It helps.
Well, yeah, where's it down there, isn't it?
Just press it. I've done it already. Right, so let's move on to Wes Burns. Right, Wes Burns. I think he's come in for some unfair criticism, Mike, this season.
100%.
Last season he was absolutely on fire. Did you know? Actually, today, not just my birthday. It's Burns night. Did you know that, Mike?
Didn't. I shows how much notice I've taken of today then, doesn't it, really?
But last night, look, another 2 assists. This season, 6 goals, 7 assists. Listen, he's going to get probably double figures with both. That'll put him over the 2 seasons. He'll be up there with some of the big hitters in this league with creative and scoring goals, Mike. And I think he's coming for a bit of unfair criticism. He's got that place.
What fans want from him to be.
No, because he's slowed down. You see the drop off last night, right? You're not a big Caden Jackson fan. I think everyone is well aware of that, right? I think that's probably Caden's best position.
Yeah,
wide. But you see the drop off when he came on second half, and I know it's difficult that we're winning 4-0, the game's over, but compared to Wes Burns, there's no talk. It's not really worth having the chat. Is Jackson a threat to his position? No. He's a sub.
To be fair to Jackson, I was, like I said, I'm right in near the tunnel, and I sat with my brother, and Jackson was coming down our left-hand side towards us in the second half when he came on. And to be fair to him, he really does work. I think, given time, he could certainly be a good backup to Burns in that role. I think he's better on that right-hand side. His pace certainly causes problems for their defence, and that especially on that left-hand side of their defence. He put some balls across and was frustrated that Ladapo wasn't in the box. For me, Ladapo should be in the box. He should be right in the 6-yard box between, anywhere around the penalty area. And then your Chaplins and your Harnesses and Broadhead should be coming in and supporting, and Ladapo weren't. And Jackson put a lovely ball across, and all it needed was someone in the box to actually have a brain and just run in. Because I'm telling you now, that would have been 5-0. But there was no one in there. And and that does frustrate me sometimes, that we don't get enough people in the box. It's all very well how, like I said, I'm not Jackson's biggest fan, but I thought he came on and did really well last night. He's far better on that. He's far better playing out wide than he is on. And he should, if I'm honest, he should have been up against that Plymouth player in the second half, because we were struggling.
Barley member, maybe. I don't think we'll ever see Jackson as a 9 again, Mike. He won't play central striker on his own. And I think now, you're on about Ladapo. I think Freddie, he wasn't any sort of threat to his position. He obviously, Jackson played the odd game, but now Hurst has come in. We'll talk about Ladapo in a minute. Now George Hurst has come in. I think that's given Freddie the kick up the backside that he might have needed. But Burns, I've given him an 8, Mike. I thought he was excellent last night. 2 assists. Look, the third goal, I was caught as soon as he was bombing down that right-hand side. I see Chaplin free, and I thought, look, pick him out. And he did. They've got a really good relationship, them two. They sort of bounce off each other. I think they're good friends off the pitch. But I think I see Stephen Parry. I think it was Stephen in the chat there a minute ago. It might have been Phil Bundell. Clark's going to help Burns, I think. Them two playing together down that right-hand side, Mike, I think that's going to sort of benefit Wes as well.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I've come off Twitter. I won't go into that, but I've come off Twitter and I have been aware of a lot of negative comments and towards Wes Burns, and I do wonder whether these fans actually know anything about football, because when you've got that amount of assists, that amount of goals, and you're doing that for the team, you can't you shouldn't. No one should be criticising the player. Me and Colin actually was waiting after the game, waiting for cars to cool down and that. And Wes Burns came past in his 4x4. And, I said to him, you come off at half time. Was you injured? And he's like, vague, a little bit vague. And I said, well, you were limping as you come off at the end of the game as well. He goes, oh, no, I should be all right. So, but I even said to him straight, look, don't ignore any criticism, mate, because I think you're a very good player for this team. So
I think he's got. I think they said a bit of a tight calf. So look, I'd probably expect Jackson to play Saturday, Mike, against Burnley. I think we might give Wes a bit of a rest, see him off the bench.
Yeah, rightly so. Just give Wes a rest. I think he's a quality player going forward. He everybody knows what he's going to do. You get that, if that ball gets past you, he's getting past you. And that's the bottom line. And I think, he did what I keep saying to do, go down the byline, whacking that ball across and picking out Chaplin, bang in the back of the net. Can't ask for more, really, can you?
What are you giving Wes?
Look, 2 assists, you got to give him an 8, haven't you?
Yeah, I thought he was excellent. He's back to his best last night, and hopefully moving forward into the second half of the season, he can have a really strong second half of the season. And look, that can't be sniffed at, Mike. Double figures with goals and assists. That, and people saying, look, he's not had the best season. Well, he set a massive bar, didn't he, last season for himself? You know,
But,
and teams are going to get a little bit wise. They are going to get a little bit wise and double up on him sometimes. But I still think he's had a really good season. Really good.
What does that tell you, though? What does that tell you when defenders are doubling up on a player like Wes Burns?
Well, there's a lot of respect to him because they know he's a threat.
Absolutely. He's a quality player, and you see it. Teams doubling up on quality players.
See, look, you were talking about Twitter and what it's like, and I obviously speak to David and Mel, his parents, and it must be hard for. They're really good people, and if I was them, David, they're both on social media, I would be staying away from it because the negativity that, especially after a game when we don't win, you know, and so, look, we can all have an opinion, Mike, but when you get impersonal and saying stuff, that's just oversteps the mark for me. But look, we're all massive Wes fans here, and let's hope
absolutely, I am
strong into the season and plenty of goals, plenty of assists, and hopefully a promotion for Town. Right, Connor Chaplin, I'll give him an 8. He's now 12 league goals, Mike. He's only one behind Collins at Bristol Rovers and Clark Harris at Peterborough in the Golden Boot. Interesting that he's actually, out of his 12 goals, he scored 10 of them at home.
I don't know why that is, to be honest, because he doesn't do anything differently, does he? Doesn't do anything different away. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's strange, but I give him some stick early in the season because I felt he wasn't performing. I didn't think he was playing well. Didn't think he was playing great, but he's come back and said, you know, clearly listened to me on here and sort of said, up yours, fisherman, you know, I'm going to play better. and look, if I'd like to think that, but reality is he's come back and he's doing well, isn't he? He's, he's not so many Hollywood flicks and tricks, more simple passing and movement, which really is what we want, isn't it?
Yeah. If you look at them 2 goals last night, Mike, I think we've both said it before. That's where he does his damage. In that 18-yard box, you know, them cutbacks, little touch, bang. He's lethal. And I think if he's got 12 already, we've still got, 18, another 8. I think he's going to hit 20 league goals. I think Chaplin will hit 20 league goals.
Well, up until yesterday, we were like second in the goals, in the top, in goals for. And now we're top scorers in the league again.
Yeah.
So, you know, Chaplin's Freddie Ladapo, I think.
What are we on now, goals-wise? We're in the 50s,
I think.
Are we in the
53, I think.
I'm just looking at something. Keep chatting. So I see this morning, I think it was on the Ipswich Town Foundation, right? Here we go. If anyone's on Twitter, have a look. Ipswich Town Foundation. This is after the morning after a game. This shows what a great character is. It was fantastic to welcome Foundation trustee Connor Chaplin to our senior blues session this morning. You know, he's gone and had a coffee with some older fat. Absolutely fantastic. You know, it's not... Look, I know we all want on the pitch, Mike. That's where we're all judging them. But off the pitch, there is some absolutely brilliant things going on at the football club. And the foundation, since Mark Ashton's come to the club... I know, look, Paul Lambert did... He got that back up and running after sort of it was disappeared under Evans, but it shows like footballers do get a bit of a bad press sometimes, don't they? But stuff like that with Connor Chaplin, morning after a game, he's there. He's having a cup of tea, having a chat with some older fans. I love it. Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, that to them, the older fans, is made their day.
Yeah.
You know, they've got a player to come in from the club. You know, look, for me, like I said, it's brilliant what's going on behind the scenes. The infrastructure that they're rebuilding the infrastructure, because let's be honest, we all know that Playford Road, the equipment there was stuck in the early 2000s, you know, late 90s, you know, and that's all been changed. You know, we know that. I mean, we know that things are going to be happening sort of over the next, what's happened over this sort of summer and over next summer, you know, and things are changing behind the scenes at the club. And look, Rome weren't built in a day, and, you know, and all that. Like I say, when you've got a player that's just been played, you know, 90 minutes, 96 or no, he didn't play 90, did he? Come off, didn't he? So, well, 65, you come off, scoring 2 goals, you know, and then come making an effort to go and see, you know, senior citizen fans and spending some time with them, having a coffee and a chat. You know, respect. That's all you've got to do, really, just show some respect.
Yeah. But look, we're loving Connor Chaplin. He's a great character. He's bubbly. Let's hope that we hope that he gets 20 goals, Mike, because if he gets...
I bet he's a mischief. I bet he's a mischievous.
20.
Yeah, I bet he's mischievous in the dressing room, though. I get the impression he's probably a bit of a joker.
Yeah, he's a good character, and you can see the relationship with Wesley. I sort of think off the pitch they're good mates, and I've given him an 8 as well. I thought, look, another excellent performance. You know, I don't want to get too carried away. And like when we were giving 10s out when we played Doncaster last year, if you remember that, we were saying, this is the brilliant performance, you know. That went well. So let's just keep a lid on it. Right. On to the new boy. Right. Nathan Broadhead, signed from Wigan. Didn't score last night, Mike. I thought he was a close. I'm giving Harry Clark my man of the match because I thought he was good. I thought Broadhead, for the 63, 64 minutes he was on, you could see a player here. We're in a very fortunate position at Town. Like we signed Marcus Harness in the summer from Pompey, 750. I think we signed him from, who I think's a good player, right? And I think a lot of teams in this league, if you had a Marcus Harness in your team, you think, yeah, he's a great player. We're lucky now that we've been able to upgrade. We've signed this Broadhead, and I'm thinking this is a player we are going to see. Fitness permitting, because I know there's a few question marks when he was at Wigan. If we can keep him on the pitch, I think you're going to see over the next, I think he signed, 3-year contract. Hopefully he's at the football club longer than that, Mike. I think we're going to see someone who can really make a mark at Town. I really do. Yeah.
There was something about the way he was moving off the ball and moving with the ball when he'd got it. It just oozed class, didn't it? And there's a player there already. Probably doesn't want to play in League One. He'd love to play in the Championship and probably the Premier League. But like you said, you know, for a player to come down to a club like ours and you know, a club like ours and under a management set up and obviously with the infrastructure, I do think watching him last night, I must admit, you know, there were 3 players, him. Well, we'll just talk about Broadhead, but yeah, for me, he was a very close man of the match as well. I've got to say, yeah.
But you think, like, he could have had a goal. He didn't mind getting a shot away. Like you say, the one in the second half, Ripley's clawed it away. There was one in the first half down to his right, great save.
Yeah.
Not afraid to have a shot. I think he played a little bit closer. I think he played a little bit closer to Ladapo, and I think he sort of helped Freddie a little bit. Freddie weren't too isolated last night. I know it's easy. Look, we played Morecambe with 4-0 up at half time. We're going to have a lot sterner tests to come. I think we all know that.
Yeah.
But I thought, the through ball for Ladapo's second goal, I thought overall, you've raised the bar. Them 2 players, Harry Clark, Nathan Broadhead, immediately the level of the team's gone up, Mike, with them 2.
Absolutely. Them 2 in the team, definitely. No 2 ways about it. And you can't be negative about that at all. And everybody knows I'm negative. I've been negative. But last night, watching them 2 players, they are upgrades on what we got, and I don't want to be disrespectful to John Donassin because I still think he's a very, very good player at this level, and he's been given, you know, Gav given us a lot, and the same with Harness. You know, Harness has been a bit hot and cold this season. Why we don't know. Maybe that's an adjustment to the club, adjustment in his personal life. I don't know. You know, none of us really knows. But you know that any other team would have Harness, and I think a lot of teams would have Donassin in their side as well. You know, so I think, but you are right. They are upgrades on what we got, and they are players that, you know, in fairness, are going to push Donassin and push Harness to perform even better. So you got a win-win situation, really, haven't you?
That's only a good thing. And
absolutely, yeah.
When we're saying we're all waxing lyrical, and I know everyone's getting a bit excited last night, beating Morecambe 4-0, but when you've spent the money on these players, it's what we expect to do, really. And we have underperformed at home. If you look at Plymouth's form, Mike, at home. They've won 13 out of 14. That's why they are top of the league. Whereas I'm not sure our home record. Someone could put it up in the chat, but there's obviously games against Fleetwood we drew.
I think that's our 4th win at home.
I think my one. If someone in the chat just
in the league,
pop up
I think it is.
what our league form is at home. But it's teams like another £5 from David Burgine. Thank you very much.
I love David. He's a top lad, top bloke.
But we're putting teams to the sword like we did last night. When earlier in the season, there you go. Is that league wins, Stephen Parry? We haven't won 11 league games, have we? We've only won 14, 15 overall. Not sure. Someone can someone put our home win, loses, and draws, please?
At home, I think we've only won 4 games at home. I think we've drawn a few, and
11 drawn 4.
We've only lost. We've only lost one. I think we've only lost one.
That must be with that's got to be with cup games. If we've won 11, drawn 4, lost 1.
Yeah, it's got to be cup games. Yeah, definitely.
But
if you ain't won,
like I'm just the point I'm trying to make is like, last night we done what we expected, right? And we didn't do what we expected when we played teams like Fleetwood, Cheltenham, Plymouth to a lesser extent, because if we'd have done our job against Cheltenham, Fleetwood, Lincoln, them sort of teams a draw against Plymouth, I know it was frustrating that they sort of scored 8 wins, 5 draws, 1 defeat. There you go. So what's that? 9. That's 14 games. 40. Is that 42 points? So we've got 24, 25. 8 wins. What's 3 8s? 24, 25.
We won 8 times at home.
30. So we've got 30 points at home, where Plymouth have won 13 home games. They've won another 5 home games than we have.
Yeah.
So that's where you really need to pick up our home form in the second half of the season here. We need to be perfect nearly, Mike, at home in every single game now.
It's a big ask, isn't it? I think the problem is that I do think sometimes, I mean, like last night, I think if it hadn't been for Wes Burns with a tight calf, I said to my brother and a couple of fans nearby, I said 60, 65 minutes, there'll be substitutes. And, and that's the only thing I will say. Sometimes we're a little bit predictable. And I think there's been a few teams that have sort of figured us out a little bit. I'm not getting on the hype of, we beat Morecambe 4-0, now we're going to go on a run. I take the view, we've beaten Morecambe, I hope we go on a run. Yeah.
We've only done what should be expected.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Morecambe. I know they were like 4th in the form table. They hadn't played for 2.5 weeks, Mike, so they might have looked a bit rusty. But that was a game there where we were ruthless in that first half, and it was 4-0 at half time, and it could have been 6 or 7 even at half time, Mike. With in the woodwork, Ripley done a couple of good saves. There was other chances, were blocked. But this is what we need to do. You score that first goal early, then you get second, then you get third, and the game's dead by half time. And it was second half was a little bit going through the motions, but the job was done. The job's done.
No disrespect. Why would you bust a gut in the second half?
Right. We kept that clean sheet that we wanted.
Yeah, that was the most
important thing to me.
Close the space down, keep a clean sheet, and that's the first clean sheet we've had in a while, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think since Oxford Boxing Day when we won 3-0.
We now just need to go on the back-to-back runs, which we haven't had since the 20s. I think Port Vale and Derby were the last 2 games that we won back-to-back. Now we need to do this now. We need to go to Cambridge, get a win there. And I still think we need to go against Sheffield Wednesday and get a win there.
Well, obviously Wednesday's game being postponed last night against Cheltenham, and that gives us 3 points on them. So we're down to 4 behind them and obviously 7 behind Plymouth. And obviously they play each other in the next round of games. So we go to Cambridge. We're going to gain on either of them, whatever happens. But we need to do our job, Mike, that day, because I know Cambridge I think they're 4th bottom. They got hiding. I think it was 5-1 against Shrewsbury Saturday. Not really a local derby. I don't see it as a local derby, but it's a local game. Now, they'll be fired up that game. I'm sure they will. The Abbey will probably sell out. They're going to come out flying. I'd have thought if you're Mark Bonner, get out there, get into Ipswich. Don't give them any respect. First 20 minutes, like I've said, press them, get in their faces. But we really need to be coming out of that game with 3 points, Mike. We don't want to be another one at 10-5 or whatever. It's another draw. Not good enough now. We've put ourselves in this position. We've proved last night that look, we're a good side. I don't think there's any doubt that we are not a good side. We can
be a good side.
Yeah, we can be. But we have to do it now on a consistent basis. We have to be, especially at home, I think we have to be nearly perfect between now and the end of the season on our home patch. And then go to places like Cambridge. You've got to go there and get the 3 points, Mike. There's no other result is acceptable when you go to the Abbey in 2 weeks. If
you're playing sides near the bottom of the league, right, which we have got quite a few of them coming up.
Yeah.
Right, they're your promotion points. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, they're going to be tough. Yes, they're going to be tough games. There's no two ways about it because they're fighting for survival. But they're there for a reason because they're not great. They're not scoring. They're not defending. They're losing games. So go there, put them to the sword early, and then at the end of the season, who knows? That maybe that automatic place could still be very much on. But at the moment, I just worry. I just worry that, I just worry. But, we'll see.
We'll see. There'll be twists and turns, but like I'm saying, that Cambridge game is there's going to be we can make up on, it might be a draw. What does everyone think in the chat? Who would you rather win that game? Would you rather Plymouth win, Sheffield Wednesday win, or a draw? Just see what the sort of the vibe is in the chat there, Mike. I don't know. Are one of them going to have a loss of form? At the minute, you would say no. You would say no, Mike. The way they've been playing, both of them.
It's not just them two, is it, though? It's Derby as well. Look at what they've done. What 15, 16 games unbeaten now?
I think 19.
And they were at Port Vale, and I think it was 87 minutes. They were 1-0 down.
Now, they
ground out that result. A 2-1 result.
I think I said it to you on the phone last night. Now, that is a sign of a good side for me who, when you're under the cosh, look, we don't know how the game went, but you're going into the latter stages there. You're losing 1-0 away. They took nearly, fair play to Derby, took nearly 4,000 there last night, Mike, to Port Vale. Great support. This is absolute madness. The league we are in, you've got teams taking 4,000 away. I mean, incredible. But it shows to me that they've got that snowball effect. They're on that momentum. Paul Warren's got them playing. And you know that somehow, this is how the good teams get promoted for me, Mike. You get them results. You're losing with 5 minutes to go. You've scored 2 goals there. McGoldrick again on the mark for them. And you've won the game. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do between now and the end of the season. We ain't going to play well every week, right?
No,
but when
just get a result.
Yeah, but when we're a little bit off it, just get them 3 points because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Yeah, we played poorly today, but we won the game. Who cares?
If we win the next 15 games 1-0, that's 3 points a game.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. And then there's going to be games where, look, realistically, there's some tough games that we have got this year. We've got the rest of the season.
Stephen Beale's in the chat here, Mike. He says Ipswich and Derby top 2. What do you think of that?
No, not happening, unfortunately. I just think Plymouth look, I was talking to one of our drivers. He goes to the game, and he phoned me up this morning. We were talking about it, and he said the same. He just can't see anybody catching Plymouth, to be honest.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But so I'll give Broadhead an 8. What did you give him?
I know no one likes 0.5s. I was going to give him a 7.5. I'm 7.5 for me. He's not quite an 8, but because for me there wasn't anyone more than an 8. Everybody would. Clark. I would say Clark probably 8.5, but the rest, I would probably say 7.5 for Broadhead. Good game, very impressive. One of the best players one of the better players on the pitch, definitely.
Right. So you've got one player left. Now, this player, he's coming for a bit of criticism this season. But last night, Freddie, 2 goals, takes him on to 9 in the league, Mike, this season, which cannot be sniffed at. I thought, look, confidence booster. The guy who sits 2 rows behind me, right? I felt really sorry for him. He says to me and my mate who sit behind, just about to come out, just about to kick off. He says, yeah, can't see Ladapo scoring tonight. 52 seconds in, we were absolutely rinsing him.
and rightly so. We've said, you said it. You said it to me over the phone, and I've said it as well. Ladapo is not a substitute player.
No. Now,
he is a starter.
Kieran said some interesting comments last about Freddie, about like the 6 months he's been here. He's really improved. And I think he has. When you look at him, he's had to get used to, obviously, moving from Rotherham. Playing for a different team, Mike, learning a different system. Mm-hmm. Now, when he played at Rotherham, he obviously played with Michael Smith, didn't he? In a 2 up front.
Yeah.
And he's got to get used to, I know you don't like it, and I don't particularly like it, but it's football nowadays. It's the rotation. You know, you play a few games, then you're on the bench. Then you're back in the team. It's like George Hurst Saturday. Played at Oxford, and I thought he didn't do that. He didn't do that bad. Yet then last night, he's back on the bench. It's I suppose you have to accept that now, because
you know what? I don't accept that, and I'll tell you why. I'll give you my reasons why. Because if Ladapo's banged in 2 goals, right, you don't drop him for the next league game. You have him back. You stick him back in. Yeah. So we play Burnley at the weekend, right? Try out some of the other players, bring them in. Look, I'm not worried about the FA Cup. It's been a nice little run.
I would have thought George Hurst Saturday, because if you look when he was at Blackburn, he didn't play many. Well, saying that, I don't think many of our players play 90 minutes if you're a striker nowadays, because they're taking them off after 65. But I think Hurst Saturday probably needs the minutes, Mike.
Yeah, I'd play Hurst on the way. But for me, the next league game, Ladapo starts.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
Can't keep dropping Ladapo. If he's just banged in 2 goals, don't drop him. Bring him back in the side. Keep his place. What happened to players fighting for their place? Now they're not, are they? There's some players are just not fighting for their place, are they? Because even if they do well, they're still dropped. Even if they don't do well, they're dropped. So where's the incentive to keep in that team? I think Kieran McKenna's made a few mistakes on that side of things. I think sometimes he's changing for the sake of changing when a player's played well and the next time he's dropped. I don't sit well with me on that one. I think, look, Ladapo, if Ladapo does, you know, for me, he's a starter. He's not a substitute player. Coming on against Oxford, he might as well have had a red card because he was non-existent.
So Khalid Mahmood says in the chat, Ladapo and Chaplin should be starters every time.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. I agree that. Well, you'd say the front 3 now on what we see last night. You Chaplin, Broadhead, and Ladapo. I'd say that is your main 3, Mike, going forward.
Well, the thing is, right, we play... You think how many games Morsey started this season, how many games Evans has started other than his injury, how many games Wolford and you know, these players are played near enough, I would say probably 95% of all the games. They're not dropped. So why drop players up front?
It seems,
Stop messing around with the team. We need consistency.
Yeah, they're the 3 that he changes, doesn't he? Them front 3, like rotating them. I think.
But why? I don't understand it, because it doesn't bring.
No, I agree with you. I do agree with you. Yeah, but it's like Ian Davis says, McKenna is a modern coach who will look after his players, he will rotate, they will get games. And it's right. And then he says Keogh last night, perfect game for him, and I agree with that. But yeah, look, I agree. But getting back to Freddie, I thought he obviously got that early goal, Mike. And then I thought his all-round play was good, held the ball up, brought others into play. Excellent finish, his second goal. That is a striker who is confident and he's in form. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was times also last night where he wasn't as selfish. If he wasn't in a good position, he laid it off, which was a bit annoying against Oxford. And then there was games before that where he's tried to take shots when he could just literal left.
Yeah, you know, it was a Plymouth game when Wes Burns was free.
You know, just hold it up. look, you hold it up, look left and right. If you know you're going to receive the ball, look at left and right, see who's available, hold it up, play the ball left, play the ball right, job done.
But I thought, Freddie's, look, he's got 9 league goals. He's probably going to hit, what, 16, 17? Decent return.
Can't ask for more than that, really, can you?
Decent return for someone who's not starting every game.
And not used to playing this lone striker role.
But he's getting used to it now, and hopefully the second half of the season, he's going to come into his own and score some important goals. Look, I would say if you're looking ahead to Cambridge, you don't know what injuries you're going to get or whatever, maybe from Saturday. This side they played last night, I think, starts at Cambridge for me.
Not for me. I look.
You just said about dropping and rotating players.
No.
Now you're going to change it.
League games is a bit different to cup games. For me, cup games. Look, I don't care about the FA Cup. All right, that's not going to get us promotion to the Championship. Get us out of this horrendous League One with shit referees and tin pot clubs that we have to bloody go down to and play, and stuff. And for me, it's a case of, look, play fringe players, play players that need game time, but keep your best players for league. Have your best players for the league. We see what happened at Harness when he played in the tin pot trophy.
True.
Got injured and he was
Saturday
playing well before that.
Saturday I'll make some changes, but Cambridge for the next league game, this would be the team that goes to Cambridge who played last night. You've just won 4-0. You've brought Keogh and Edmondson in who had a decent game. You're playing against Cambridge, another team down at the bottom of the league, Mike. You're not playing against it'd be interesting the week after Sheffield Wednesday, but I think you need to keep some continuity now going forward.
Sorry, I may have got this wrong. I thought you meant Burnley. Sorry.
No, Burnley. I'll definitely make changes, but
sorry. Yeah, no. I've got me wires crossed. Let me just plug myself in again. Cambridge, the same team start. Sorry, lads. Sorry, gentlemen, if I've misheard what's happened there. Yeah, no, for Cambridge, I keep the same team.
Yeah, I think Saturday, obviously, we're looking into Burnley. They've spent 8 million today, Mike, on a striker.
Who have they bought?
Keep talking because I'll find out his name. He's South African. They've done, if you've not seen it, a fantastic their admin team. I'll send you the video. Absolutely.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. They have signed today for 8 million. Lyle Foster. He's a South African international from Belgium side KVC Westerlo. It says undisclosed fee, 4.5-year contract, but I was reading they said about 8 million. So he could make his debut Saturday. So obviously they're spending big because they're afraid of Richard Keogh and Edmondson at the back.
Well, hopefully, like I said, we'll beat them at the weekend and then they'll go and thump the
Norwich, aren't they?
Yeah.
Norwich after
the horrible green and yellow crap.
I think it's a good game. I think it's a good game for Town Saturday. I think to test yourself against obviously they're nailed on, Mike. I think they're 19 points clear, and Vincent Kompany. I mean, what a job he's done there. I know they've got the parachute payments. I get that, right? But they really struggled in the Premier League, Burnley, last season, and they've gone down. And I think a lot of people probably thought, new manager coming in. I know he was at Anderlecht, first time in England. Championship, not an easy league for your first sort of management gig in England. But listen, to be 19 points clear at this stage of the season, Mike, I think you just got to take your hats off to them because it's bloody.
Well, Fulham like that last year. I think, was it Mitrovic scored
he scored a lot of goals. Look, they're always going to have that advantage, these teams coming down from the Premier League, but you still got to do it. We will see one of my favourite players Saturday playing for Burnley, and one of yours, Scott Twine.
Yeah, still gutted we didn't sign him. I think he would have been ideal.
Please on Saturday, no free kicks anywhere of about 30 yards of the box.
Yeah, I'd have had him and sort of, him and Morsey in that midfield. No two ways about it, But it's not happened, so we'd carry on how we're going on, and so I mean, look, Ladapo, what are we going to give him points? I want to give him an 8 as well for scoring 2
Freddie's
goals.
got an 8. He's got a strong 8. A strong 8.
Strong 8. Yeah.
Excellent.
But
I've
man of the match,
I've been gutted.
8.5.
He looked a bit pissed off when the number went up last night to take him off.
Possibly, but I think, look, this is the problem, isn't it? I think, like I said, I said to Colin before the game, I could probably bet a good £100 on that there'd be substitutions between 60 and 65 minutes.
Yeah.
It's nailed on with Kieran McKenna. Now, people say it's modern football, but I don't see other managers doing it.
I didn't have a problem last night. We're winning 4-0. You're going to make some changes.
No.
It's just sometimes when the game's sort of in the balance, you just think outside the box a little. I'm not being negative at all tonight because we've just won 4-0. No. Everyone's positive. Get your score predictions in for Saturday. Burnley FA Cup round 4. We haven't been in this round for when Roy Keane the manager. We beat Blackpool away was the last time. I don't want to replay, Mike. I'll just say that. If we win Saturday, great. If we lose, yeah, but we don't want to replay because I think it falls. It might be the week after Sheffield Wednesday, but we don't need another game.
No.
We don't want to trip.
Just
Burnley.
I'm not saying let them win.
Go to Burnley
I think realistically, I don't want to go
any time of the year, Mike. Do you?
Not really. I want to. Look. I think it's going to be a tough ask to beat them. I think they're well organised. I think company's done a fantastic job up there. There'll be changes. I can't see him playing a strong side, but it'll be still strong for us. So in fairness, look, I think we'll lose. I ain't going to lie. I think it'll probably be like a 2-0, I think, something silly like that. I don't want that scoreline. I'd love us to win. And surprise, I never thought we'd beat Rotherham 4-0. But we've done. I'll go with. I think Burnley will probably win that one, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the game.
Yeah, definitely.
The cricket club is next door. You can have a drink. You can actually go in the bar there. I think it'd be a tight game. I think it might be a 2-1 probably to Burnley. I think they might have a little bit extra quality. They'll probably make some changes. But company must feel, you think, I know that they're 19 points clear in the Championship, and that's like, obviously they want to get out of that league. But he must be thinking, right, if we can beat Ipswich, he's not going to take us lightly. But then you're into the 5th round. You get a decent draw, and you just never know, do you?
If we look, I ain't gonna lie. If we beat Burnley, I want United and I want Man United at home. I do, honest, because my boy is driving me up to the wall. Keep saying, we played you, we'd thrash you off we'd play you off the pitch. And I'm like, so I just want Man United at home just so I can spend a week abusing him. and the wife, I ain't gonna lie, because she's a United fan as well.
Before we close tonight, just a little bit. I was reading earlier about one of our loan players. He actually scored last night, Mike. Joe Pigott scored for Pompey.
No, shut up.
Yeah, scored at Pompey. And John Mousinho, the new gaffer. There was rumours that Pigott might be they might have cut his loan deal short because he hasn't been playing a lot. Right. But the new manager wants to keep Joe Pigott at Pompey. Thoughts on that?
Fine, yeah. Look, I wish Joe all the best. I'm still amazed how many goals he scored. That's before, because here he was, not great. I ain't gonna lie.
I did say did I say get about 23 goals for Town, and I think he got 3 then.
Mate, I probably said exactly the same. So it's probably get 20 goals for us easy and all that. I'm like,
I've got no ills against Joe Pigott. Great lad. I've met him.
Yeah.
And but I suppose it's like any player. It's like we can talk about sort of Pigott's gone on loan there, but you think now, just before we close, we'll be closing shortly. Don't worry, Martin. We're not going to waffle all night. Well, we could do. You think now at Town, got a lot of players there, Mike, who are not playing any football. Greg Lee, Kane Vincent-Young, Ahadme. I don't know. Ahadme. even Sonny Aluko. Massimo Luongo, that's an interesting one. We signed him from Middlesbrough. He's come in, not played a minute, Mike, so far.
I think they're trying to get him fit, aren't they? That's what was. There was a few comments made last night. Someone said that he's spending a lot of time in the fitness room.
Well, he was on the bench Saturday at Oxford, and he wasn't on the bench last night. I think he's a type of player. I see his interview when he came. He's a low-risk signing. He knows the deal, I think, when he signed that he might not play a lot. But I think he's probably a good character because he's played in this league. He played at Sheffield Wednesday, Do you
think it's a good signing though? Because I'm not so sure. I don't, if he's not, what was the point? It's just, isn't he just saying, look,
he's that bit of cover, I think, in midfield. If you got an injury to an Evans or a Morsey,
it was nice. I'm not. This is not a Slate Morsey thing. It was nice to see Morsey get substituted last night because he plays a lot of games, and him coming off last night and Lee Evans getting the armband and that, it was nice because that gives him a bit of rest, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than because he's played a lot of games for us, and
I wouldn't play him Saturday.
He's not a young man anymore, is he?
He wouldn't play Saturday for me. Morsey would be on the bench.
No, I kind of agree. I'd
go Humphreys and I'll go what they've done the last round. I'll go Humphreys and Evans in the middle.
Yeah, I couldn't fault that. More like I said, it's not a dig at Morsey. I just think it was good to see him come off last night because I do think he's played a lot of games, and maybe that's why his form's dropped a little bit because he has played a lot of games, and but last night was good to see him. Look, as I've said before, I know we're looking to close the show about obviously Morsey getting 10 goals and that. There was a prime example last night as why I was so confident that Morsey would not score 10 goals this season. And that was he had a blinding opportunity to put a goal in the back of the net. Rather than hitting it left and right at the keeper to force the keeper to make a save, it went straight down the keeper's throat. And, just do your job, Morsey. Just hold, mix it up, shut the midfield down, make it your own. Don't worry about trying to score, fella.
Anyway,
just something I
think we've just about done. Cheers for everyone in the chat. The chat's been flying tonight, Mike. Some great comments in there.
Yeah.
If you haven't liked the show already, hit the like button on YouTube. Subscribe. I think we're back Friday with the press conference react show. For me and Matt, I don't know if Martin will be here. He might be, he might not. But I've enjoyed sitting in the chair. It's been great chatting to you, Mike, for what we've done, an hour and 12 minutes. It's just good, easy chat, good, positive show. And anything to add before we close?
Obviously I haven't been on the show or whatever, but my beginning of the show when you read out the thing about Martin and his little one, my wife stood here and because obviously my wife takes our daughter to school, and Martin's lovely wife teachers at the school that my daughter goes to, and my wife didn't know he'd had the baby and didn't realise the situation, so she just said to me, "Send my love," and for myself, I've been there with my oldest daughter when she was five days old, having similar thing with ventilator and stuff like that, and it's a very stressful time for any parent, and so from my wife and myself, Martin, loads of love, mate, and hope that things improve even more so than they are right now, and hopefully you'll be out, your wife and little one will come home, and you can put this behind you and move on as and put this down to as a stressful blip as in life, but sending loads of love anyway from my wife and myself.
Great comments from Mike. Great comments in the chat tonight. We will see you all on Friday, 8:30. Myself, Matt, hopefully Martin. Take care and we'll see you soon.